Hi, my name is Gina. I am a juror in the case of the dentist with about 20 patients who are not happy about the Bright Smiles Dental flagging their chart with the red sticker saying AIDS on it. Um, I went back and forth trying to decide if I should be on the plaintiff or the defendant side. And it was almost even, but I think I'm going to go with the defendant because after researching it in depth, I have I have a lot of information that I want to talk about here today. Um, First of all, everybody knows what HIPAA is, and I guess the controversy here is whether or not HIPAA was violated in this case. So there was no really clear-cut rule about that. When HIPAA was first created in 1996, they didn't really go into depth about who was allowed to look at the records. They had something in there with a business office associates, and then in April 14th of 2003 they revised HIPAA to make it more specific of what exact business associates were allowed to look at paper records. Um, it's a lot easier to look at people's paper records because you don't need a password and all those things like that. So paper records have been recycled and shredded and burned, and people have found them or stolen them, and all kinds of crazy stuff has happened. In this case, it wasn't anything like that. It was somebody purposely putting a red sticker on the outside of the chart, the paper folder, saying AIDS on it, with about 20 different patients from the AU dental offices. So I guess I would have to say if I was one of these patients, I probably wouldn't be happy about it. I'm sure no one would really want that to be happening. I know that they're saying it's because they need to put things like MRSA or something that's contagious, something that can interfere with dental procedures. Um, it's not to embarrass anyone. I'm sure they didn't do it purposely, but I can see where people would be upset about that from an ethical standpoint. Nobody wants their personal life flashed on a chart. So my main issue, or my main question, I guess I would say, if it was in a situation where I was a real juror and I could get together with all the other 11 jurors and say, what are our questions we have for the judge or for whoever, and then come back with them to make our decision, my main question would be, is the person's name on the outside of the chart? Because according to our defendant, Amy, she said that, which I believe her, the patient's medical record was only on there. So there's no way anyone can tell who the patient is. And I'm not saying it's right that they did it, but if that's the case, then I don't see anything wrong with it. It's not like it said, oh, Gina Cataldo, such and such, If it was just my medical record, I personally wouldn't have a problem with that if they thought it was going to safeguard somebody else. So that would be my main question to make my decision. Whether they were going to go for the plaintiff or the defendant. But if it was the medical number on there, then I have no problem with that at all. Uh, I looked up on the website for the adacatalog.org, which I'll list on my references with the other articles I read. That clearly defines like everything that should and should not be in paper record. The cover of the chart, they claim on this website, is the patient's name or account number, as we just said. There could be a single sticker color-coded on the outside displaying like to alert a team regarding allergies, medications, conditions which may affect dental treatment. It doesn't say underneath what that is, but if it is something that's a contagious diagnosis, then maybe that's what that means. So that's where my next question would be, is that something that you think is going to affect dental treatment, especially with teeth and bleeding and contracting HIV and AIDS? I don't know. I have a hard time with everybody just going right for the plaintiff on this one. So that's my issue. Another person said something pretty good in one of these articles I read. You know, we shouldn't need to know everybody's history if they're contagious or not, because we should treat all patients as if they are affected with some kind of disease anyways, and therefore we use the universal precautions, which I work at a hospital, we do that anyways, you know. You glove up, you protect yourself and the patient. Maybe you're sick too, you're protecting the patient and yourself. So if we kind of all just treat everybody in this way, protecting ourselves, then I guess, you know, we don't have to worry about this stuff. You know, so that basically there's so many cases that where people have won because you know, somebody with HIV positive in one case in a dentist's office, and at the last minute the anesthesiologist chose to back out and cancel the surgery. It wasn't the surgeon, it was the anesthesiologist, because the person had stopped taking their antiretrovirals 2 weeks prior to the surgery, which they were told to. The anesthesiologist wrote in the notes, you know, I will come back and do the surgery once the person gets on the antiretrovirals again. I mean, there's so many different arguments you could have in this. That's why it's a great case to talk about. Basically, I just can't see going for the plaintiff though, because especially if it was the medical record on the outside, it's not violating any HIPAA, I don't think. So thank you, and I will hope to be hearing from everybody and seeing everybody's videos. Have a good day. Bye bye.